Good morning. Good morning, friends. Welcome, welcome. We'll let folks continue to come in and go ahead and find a seat. Take your time. If this is your first time with us, welcome here to UU Mount Airy. I'm Reverend McKinley Sims. I use he, him pronouns. And I'm the minister of this congregation. We welcome you here into this space in our historic sanctuary here at 6900 Stenton Avenue, or if you're watching us online, either via Zoom or YouTube, or watching us on Facebook Live. It's good to be together this morning. If you are watching us online, it might be in a couple of different ways. So if you're watching us on YouTube or on our Boxcast service or on Facebook Live, please know that there's a slightly more interactive service that you can do online if you're wanting to do that. We have a Zoom that goes on every Sunday, and the information to log in our Zoom is found in our email newsletter or on our Facebook group page, which is different than our public Facebook page, which is very confusing. But if you can join our Facebook group, you can find the login information for our Zoom, if that's something you want to do. If you're wanting to just watch it later while you're falling asleep, or hopefully not while you're driving, that's just fine. If you're watching us on Zoom and you need closed captions, if you go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, click the CC button. That'll help you understand my Texas accent a little bit more, and you'll be able to see what's going on and read the transcript as well. Throughout the service, if you want to participate via Zoom, please use the Zoom chat function and let us know where you are and how we can support you, especially when we get to our joys and sorrows. This morning, we have a very cool service. Today is Father's Day, it is the summer solstice, and it is also the Sunday closest to Juneteenth, which is a holiday that we grew up honoring and recognizing in Texas, and that I brought here to Philadelphia when I first started here at this congregation 8 years ago. And then magically it became a federal holiday, and now everybody knows about Juneteenth, which is both very cool and a little bit sad, I think, for especially lots of black folks and those of us from Texas for whom it felt like a really special day. But we're going to honor and celebrate Juneteenth today, where we have words of learning and wisdom from Miss Cynthia Bradley, who's going to share a little bit about the history of Juneteenth. And then we are so pleased to welcome artist Tremaine Smith with us today, who's going to be sharing some words of wisdom. Can we welcome Tremaine very briefly here? So you hear more from them in a minute. We're going to have a story for all ages where we get to experience what it might have felt like to be at the first proclamation of Juneteenth back in 1867. And we'll hear some music from our Restoration Singers Justice Choir and from Sophie Corin, who's on the piano today. So can we welcome Sophie back? Beautiful. All right, if you're here in our beautiful sanctuary, I'm going to invite you to take a moment, set your cell phones to do not disturb, or at least move the volume down. If you're watching us online, if you want to get a candle or a chalice to light with us here in the sanctuary, we welcome you to do that. And no matter where you are, take a moment to be with yourself. Stretch your neck out a little bit, roll your shoulders, find your feet flat on the floor. We like to start our mornings with a nice, easy breath together. Find a comfortable position. We'll center ourselves here and in the present. I invite you to take a nice, easy but deep breath with me. Breathe in and out. We believe that if you breathe together, you are together, and it is good to be together this morning. So Juneteenth is a holiday of remembrance and liberation and freedom, right? It started as like an alternate Independence Day, because in the first Independence Day, July 4th, 1776, not everyone was independent, right? Not everyone was free. So we make space for gratitude and remembrance and promising to do better this morning, here together in this space, a beloved community. As we begin our service this morning, we're going to light a chalice to celebrate our coming together in love, to mark the sacred space and time of this community, and to invite spirit into our lives. As I said, if you are at home and you want to light a candle where you are, please do so. We're going to light the candle here in the sanctuary with words from the poem that became Lift Every Voice and Sing. I'm going to light the chalice and invite you to read these words with me.
We light this chalice out
Wonderful. Would you rise in body or in spirit? We're going to sing hymn number 121. The lyrics are in the gray hymnals. We're on the screen behind me. It's called We'll Build a Land. And we're going to sing verses 1 through 3, I believe. 121, ooh, this word is hard for me to say with my Texas accent. We will build a land. Number 121. Thank you. We lift up the mission of this congregation, which is building beloved community by embracing all souls and nurturing wholeness. And one of the ways that we do that in ourselves and in our institutions is through the sharing of our joys and sorrows. If this is your first time with us, we invite you to participate in this ritual however much or little you wish. If you just want to sit in the pews and listen, that's totally fine. But if you are feeling moved to come up by the side aisle, grab a stone from the basket that is at the rear of the sanctuary or here at the front. Grab a stone or two, however many you need, and let those stones become your joys, your sorrows, your hopes, your dreams, people that you are thinking about and praying for, sending love towards. When you're ready, gently drop it into the bowl of water that symbolizes our community and how we hold one another through all that it is to be human. If there's something especially pressing, we invite you to use this microphone to share your name and either who is on your heart or what your joy or sorrow is, what you're feeling this morning. Please be mindful that we are recording this service and live streaming it. It's not going live all across the world like the World Cup right now, but it's not just us here in the sanctuary. So if that's an issue for you, if you'll just raise your hand and I'll bring you the microphone and you can speak into it where you're not on camera. Friends who are online, if you want to use the Zoom chat function, I can see you here. Let us know if you would like your joy or sorrow shared out loud. And then we'll come together and listen to some music and take a moment of prayer and reflection afterwards. Come, come, whoever you are, the table of joys and sorrows is open.
I'm Leela, and if you could please hold my sibling in your heart who's in the hospital. I would appreciate it so much, and I just want to thank Nate so much. I really wish it wasn't Nate's last day. But it's been great singing with them, and we had a great concert together in the fall. I'm just really thankful for all that singing time.
Good morning. My name is Anam. I just wanted to say, for all those who celebrate happy Juneteenth a couple days ago, happy Father's Day, and happy solstice. Celebrating all three of those. I'm really grateful to be here with two of my three daughters today. I'm also really grateful that my oldest daughter, Coraline, she's taking me and the other two here with me, Bibiana and Valentina, out for a Father's Day lunch sometime after service today. And then if any of you remember our RE professional from a couple cycles ago, Joanna Mangelli Smith, she got Phillies tickets for me and her husband Emlyn, who's from New York, so he's an actual Mets fan, and as much as it pains me to say that, we're going to go out and enjoy a baseball game today, and hopefully it's a lot like last night's. And also, I just want to acknowledge all of the fathers who may not be able to be with their children today for whatever reason, who really want to be, and just keep them in mind as well.
I'm Kathy, and I just realized I'm really afraid for my brother, who's having neurospinal surgery on Thursday this week, and it'll be a 6 to 12 month recovery for him. And I'm also confident that it will go well, but it's a time of great vulnerability, and I'll be leaving the country tomorrow, so it's hard to be so far away when he goes through that. And tomorrow, our son is really anxious about taking a test for a job. He has not had a job for the last 2 years, and we're praying for him to get the job.
This is for Karen Smith, if she's here. Karen, hi. If she isn't, I hope she's looking from home. We were so graced at Stapley, on our Stapley, which was Friday night, Friday during the day. And we knew that it was going to be a big crowd, but we didn't realize it was going to be that big a crowd. And she brought her drum. She brought two people that she, part of her entourage, and they were dancers, and they had these gorgeous costumes, and there was also a kind of a look-see on how everybody was dressed, because a lot of people came just looking so beautiful, and little kids running around in their beautiful little costumes. And anyway, I just want to say that Karen did a bang-up job, and it was wonderful. And we loved her, and she even shared some of her instruments with us, and we passed them around, down the aisle, and everybody got to use one.
Morning, I'm Mike. I was up in Salem, Massachusetts with some friends for the last week and a half or so. And they go to a UU church up there, so I was going with them up there, and I heard a little joke, which I suspect is probably really commonly known in UU circles, but it goes something like, if you've been to one UU church, you've been to one UU church. And so it was interesting, and you know, comparing and contrasting, etc. However, I would say that, like here, up there, people are wonderful, wonderful congregations, and open hearts and interested minds and all that other stuff. So I just wanted to thank you all for that.
Good morning. McKinley, I think there's probably Texas accents that are much harder to understand than yours. Anyway, a sorrow is that I learned this past week that two beloved wives of musician friends passed. I didn't even know they were ill. They're friends in the musicians community, and their names are Beverly Weiss and Heidi Kerber. My joy is President Barack Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, and all the wonderful presidents and First Ladies who celebrated this amazing event in Chicago. So uplifting, reminding us of the beauty that our President and First Lady and everybody else, musicians that were amazing to see, can bring to us. Very uplifting.
Good morning, I'm Linda, and my great joy today is that I have a guest with me. This is Princess Akwe. So Princess is from Nigeria, and she is the program manager of an organization that I have been volunteering with for the last 6 years called Crystal Lens Impact Africa Foundation. And Princess is here in the States for 2 years on a fellowship through an organization called Urban Promise International. And she's here to get her MBA and also work on creating a new program element for Crystal Lens. So please join me in welcoming Princess.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in the United States and to see Linda personally. It has been like a great privilege for me, and I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Bradley, and I'm happy to be here today. I'm going to speak to you a little later. My joy is that my youngest daughter, Francesca Bradley Hightower, and her husband, Jason Hightower, ran in the 5K Juneteenth race yesterday at the Brooklyn Bridge, and that was my daughter's first time ever running in anything other than running around the house. So we're very proud of her. My granddaughter was there with a mom sign in one hand and a dad sign in the other hand. And they finished like 500, 400, whatever. But they were there, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jody. A joy and a sorrow at the same time is to remember my oldest son who died in 2001 on Father's Day, to remember him. And my joy is my visit this past weekend with my younger son up in Vermont.
My name is Ellen, and I just am putting a stone in for the hard work of healing relationships.
I'm Rita, and I have a concern and a couple joys. The concern first is my sister-in-law Nancy is fighting stage 5 renal cancer, renal disease, and at the same time dealing with her own mental illness. She's bipolar and other things, and dealing with my brother, who also has some problems and very tumultuous marriage. So the family's trying to help them, but it's hard, as Ellen said. Human relationships will really get you. The two joys that I have, thank you, Nate, for your time here. I've loved having you as a music director. Thank you so much. And the other thing is, since it's Father's Day, happy Father's Day, and I'm thinking of my own dad and how lucky I was to have him. He was, I don't think I fully appreciated him even until, well, I did appreciate him until after his death. And the thing is, I now see my own son just loving being a dad, just like his pop-up, and that just fills me with joy, so.
Thank you. We are going to drop a stone into the bowl for all those joys and sorrows not spoken out loud and held in the quiet of our hearts. So I'm going to see if my worship associate will help me do it. Thank you. I'm going to pray, and I invite you to join me however that feels comfortable for you. If you want to close your eyes, please do so. If you want to just sit and be still and look into the beautiful stained glass, that's fine too. Spirit of life and love, as we come together in memory of freedom long denied but nevertheless taken and spread throughout bodies and hearts and across the land, we remember all of those who have helped grow us into being. We remember those who have lost their parents on this Father's Day, remembering especially Jesse and Chase and Kevin. In times of loss and in times of love, it is good to come together today in the spirit that moves between us and within us, calling us to remember where we come from so that we might do better with where we are going. And may where we are going be a place of justice and love, lived out loud, shared between bodies and across the land, in honor of the spirits of bravery and love that came before us. May it be so. Amen. Thank you. You want me to tell the kids' story too? Well, we are going to tell a kid's story. All right, if I have any kiddos of any age who want to come and hear a very quick story about Juneteenth, can you join me out here? Because I have a costume change that I need to do, but I need an audience for it. Now, would you want to sit down? No? Am I going to have to carry you? Okay. I'm going to tell you a story about a time long ago in a place called Texas. So where I grew up was about as far away from this place in Texas that I'm going to tell you about as Philadelphia is from Atlanta, Georgia, maybe. So we were in the same state, but it's not exactly the same place. So where I'm from in Texas is a very dry and dusty place. It's called the Plains Desert, and there's lots of sand and dirt everywhere. But this story takes place in a town called Galveston. Galveston is on the beach in Texas. And Galveston was a place that in 1867, people had not yet heard the news from something called the Emancipation Proclamation that said that what many black Americans had been experiencing, being held in slavery, was wrong, and that they were now free. People in Galveston, Texas, had not yet heard that message. So there were some people who still thought that they could own another human being. And there were some black Americans who were told that they could not leave and do what they wanted, that they didn't have their freedom. Until one day, on June 19th, 1867, and this is where I need your help. I need you to imagine that I have a big horse underneath me. And I need you to imagine that I have a big cowboy hat on. And I need you to imagine that I'm riding on a horse into Galveston, Texas to share a message. Oh, you know what? I got a better idea. All right, is everybody imagining? Is that what horses sound like? I think that was a pretty good horse. On June 19th, on June 19th, 1867, it's just a pretend horse. It's not a real horse. It's okay, it's just a pretend horse. See? He's just pretend. On June 19th, 1867, a man named General Gordon Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, and lots of people were gathered just like this. And he gave an announcement that said, slavery is wrong, and people who have been enslaved are free. And the people who were gathered in Galveston, Texas, all of the black Americans who were there, they let out the biggest yell you've ever heard. They all went, yeah! That's great. I love it. I love it. I know, that's a little bit loud. Okay, so we might not do it as loud this time, but we want to prepare. Maybe we'll put our hands over our ears if we're getting a little nervous about it. But on June 19th, a date that came to be known as Juneteenth, it's a day that we remember the freedom of black Americans, especially in Texas. And when General Gordon Granger rode in on his horse with his big hat, and he said, y'all are free, the people let out a kind of big yell. Can we all try that together? On the count of 3. And if you want to cover your ears, you can cover your ears. 1, 2, 3. And that's how freedom came to the state of Texas. And that's what we remember on Juneteenth. So can we say together all a big amen? Thank you, friends. We're going to remember and learn more about Juneteenth today. But for now, we are going to have our choir come up and sing a song about working for freedom and working for liberation. So we need to move out of the way back to the family section or back to your pews with your parents so that we can make room for our choir as they come up. Thank you for playing along. Thanks, Dottie. Thanks, Addie. See ya. We're going over here. Come on. Follow the horse. Follow the horse. Thank you. A reminder that the work of freedom and liberation is never done. It's always ongoing, and even if it takes a long time and has to come to your shores from the most unlikely of messengers, we might hold on. Now is the time in our service when we take up our offering of financial resources for the good of this congregation and the wider community. This is your first time with us. The offering works a little bit differently here at UU Mount Airy. There should be white envelopes in your pews that you can mark change for change, and then any pocket change that you put into the plate from those sources goes towards a different social justice organization each month. For the month of June, it's a nonprofit called Salvage Compost. You can find more information on the screen behind me and in your order of service. So anything in the white envelopes and any pocket change in the plate goes towards that group. Anything else you put in the plate goes towards the operating fund of this congregation. Friends who are online, you have the same options to donate online. And if you want to donate through your phone electronically here in the sanctuary, there's a QR code on the back of your order of service that you can use as well. We know there are lots of ways to give back. The giving of monies is just one, but we're going to take up our offering now. And if this is your first time here with us, there's no expectation that you give anything to the plate, except for a contact card, one of the colored contact cards that should also be in your pews. Let us know how you found us and how we might support you. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Thank you, thank you. So we want to invite Miss Cynthia Bradley forward. We're okay. We're going to invite Miss Cynthia Bradley up to share with us a little bit about the history of Juneteenth and how we've gotten where we are today. Please welcome Miss Cynthia.
Good morning. I'm not that tall. My name is Cynthia Bradley, and it's the first day of summer, and I'm very happy to be here. I have attended this church since 2004, and I became a member in 2007. Anytime I do a sermon or a reflection or reading, I dedicate it to my ancestors, and I do so today. Mostly my mother and grandmother, but also because it's Father's Day, I will add my dad. And I told Reverend Sims what we call my dad, but we won't say it here in mixed company, so to speak. Is that good or what? Like that? Okay, cool. All right, so there were so many choices for this reflection. I could have spoken about Juneteenth in its history. I think we got a good little sense of that a minute ago. I love the horse, and the hat, and the boots. And also, we're coming up on our 250th anniversary of being a country, and there is so so much about that, particularly here in Philadelphia, because it's Philadelphia and we've got all the good stuff, the Liberty Bell and Betsy Ross and Washington and his slaves and the pictures going up, the pictures coming down. We've got the World Cup, we've got Major League Baseball, we've got everything going on this summer. So 250 is a big deal. And let's not forget Father's Day is today, June 21st, 2026. So I thought about Juneteenth and the fact that some enslaved people in Texas did not find out about being free until about 2.5 years later after the Emancipation Proclamation. And we were taught that the first enslaved Africans were brought to Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. And I highly recommend the 1619 project if anyone would like to read and get the real story there. I would also recommend that we look at Ken Burns' American Revolution and get a better idea how we became a country without all of the romance added. But 1619 was 1619. Further research shows that groups of enslaved Africans were brought to what is now Charleston, South Carolina, as early as the mid-1500s. I know, read a lot about, look up research and don't believe but believe some of everything about South Carolina because I was born there. And I was so fascinated when I watched Ken Burns, the Battle of Camden and how there was such a strong British stronghold there. And I was born in Camden, South Carolina. We have something called Revolutionary Camden, but I never went there. But I'm learning a lot about my home state. Anyway, today I will talk about some of the events that took place between 1776, when the colonies were finally free of British rule, through 1865, when slavery was officially abolished by the 13th Amendment. So you can do the math. That's 89 years between 1776 and 1865. So if you're a history buff, some of the dates and events I'm going to read off now to you. You'll recognize some of them. We did get taught some of these in school, not all. But the point is that all of these things took place while the United States still continued with slavery. So here we go. In 1776, those 13 arguing puny little colonies became a country. So we became the USA. We still had slaves. In 1787, the Constitution was ratified. We still had slaves. In 1789, George Washington became the first president of this new country. He owned slaves. In 1789 as well, there was the French Revolution. I think they got wind of what we were doing over here and said, let's get rid of Marie Antoinette. In 1793, the cotton gin was invented, and that really solidified slavery in the slave South. So fast forward to 1800, which began the Industrial Revolution. In 1803, we made the Louisiana Purchase. I love New Orleans, so that was a great idea. In 1804, Lewis and Clark began their expedition, continuing our Manifest Destiny traits. In 1812, we had the War of 1812. Black soldiers fought in that. We were still slaves. In 1819, the United States acquired Florida, that little peninsula hanging down there. That was not a great idea. And if anybody's from Florida, you're from Florida. In 1826, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died that year. And that was 50 years after we became a country. So there's some irony there that I may look around at later. In 1830, there was something begun called the Indian Removal Act. And we can credit Andrew Jackson for that one. 1831 was Nat Turner's Rebellion. And that was a slave rebellion that happened in the state of Virginia. 1846, we had the war on Mexico. It seems like we had to have a war every 30, 40 years. Black soldiers fought in that, but we were still slaves. Frederick Douglass published The North Star, a publication by, one of the first publications by a black person in this country, and that was in 1847. In 1853, Harriet Tubman began the Underground Railroad. And some of those stops in that system are not too far from where we're sitting and standing right now. Just go down to Johnson House, Clifton, those areas. 1857 was Dred Scott, and that was because he sued because he'd been in a free territory and was returned to a slave territory, and he sued to be considered a free man. So they call it the Dred Scott decision. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected as president. In 1861, the Civil War began. Brother against brother, South against North. We didn't have to worry about Britain anymore. We were fighting ourselves. And of course, black soldiers were in that. Hey. In 1863, we had the Emancipation Proclamation, which you heard Reverend Sims talk about. But it wasn't until 1865 that the 13th Amendment was ratified, abolishing slavery in the country. So that's the 89 years. And some of the things that happened in those 89 years while we still held enslaved people in this country. So, I would like for you, all these pieces of paper here, to think for a moment about the 89 years and the expense that was saved by this country through continuing slave labor. They didn't have to be paid. So there were millions of dollars and trillions by today's standards earned. But also think about the humanity of the situation. Not just lives, but the psyches of both black and white and other people of color in the country. Think about growing through 89 years, there were people who never ever found out they were free, not just those Texans, but they lived their whole lives as slaves. And then, look at the efforts still in place today that are there to erase that part of our history. That part of our history from 1619 to now is our history. It is not black people's history, it is the history of this country. So please think about all of the ways that we're seeking to make that small. It's not small. It's the 89 years, it's the 250 years. So please take a moment to think of those things. If you will. If not, it's okay, it's true anyhow. So you don't have to think about it, it's a fact. At this point, I want to bring a little levity, because I've been very serious. I took this very seriously when Reverend Sims asked me to do a reading. I was going to read some Langston Hughes or some other famous black poet I might pick up. And I'm like, no, I'm going to think about something that's, I know South Carolina, so I almost wrote a whole thing on South Carolina, but that'll be for another day. But the levity I offer you this morning is a poem, and it's called The Dad's Poem. And I wrote it for a friend some years ago who is a member of this church who is not present in this building. But I'm going to read the dad poem. I had a father, but I never had a dad. But if I had had a dad, you are the dad I wish I had had. So you see, Dr. Seuss has nothing on me. You are kind and you are strong, and you always helped me get along, even when I was wrong. So happy Father's Day, kind sir. You know who you are. Today, I wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day, but most especially, I wish the dads a happy Father's Day. Namaste.
Would you remain seated? We're going to sing hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal. It's called Spirit of Life. The lyrics are in the gray hymnals in your pews or on the screen behind me. Hymn number 123, and I'll invite Tremaine to come up and get ready.
My name is Tremaine Smith, and I'm here on this Juneteenth Sunday to talk about hope, healing, and repair. And I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. I'm an artist who paints as a means of healing. I've spent over 30 years taking deep dives into the unseen inner world as a way to heal myself and create beauty. Some of the skills I've developed as an artist are openness, trust in the process, exploration, and persistence over difficult terrain. This spring, I completed a program in restorative justice at Community College of Philadelphia. I wanted to gain skills to engage in collective ways of healing. Being in circle with others to build community and address harm is my new art form. I participated in circles with others that dealt with deeply impactful harm. We shared values of honesty, respect, and presence. I learned community and the shift from doing to being, and how to show up when I didn't know what to do or what to say. I learned to keep learning the vital skills of deep listening and recognizing limiting viewpoints and holding space so that they can be set free in the light of recognition and compassion. I began to learn how to take care of myself when my own wounds were touched. I felt the impact that sharing harmful realities had on my body and my mind and my spirit. and I became more accepting of my limitations while developing steps to be able to stay present to myself and others through painful dialogue. If anything surprised me, it's the depth of the power of this process to help people heal from devastating and long-lasting trauma. Native American elder Black Elk said, "Behold the circle, for it is holy, being endless, and thus all powers shall be one power in the people without end." Several years ago, my sister and my brother and I looked into our family's genealogical history to discover that my mother's ancestors had enslaved people in Harford County, Maryland. We learned painful details about our cultural heritage. And in 2024, I testified as a descendant of enslavers in Harford County at the public hearing of the Maryland Truth and Reconciliation Commission. At the final hearing in 2025, called Reckoning and Repair, one of the speakers said, "As we struggle for freedom, we have cosmic companionship." Dr. David Ragland of the Truth Telling Project says that reparations is the midpoint between truth and reconciliation. Reparations are a spiritual practice, not just a transaction, and go hand in hand with truth-telling. They are a relational practice of healing from spiritual, moral, and material harm. Speaking the truth of our experiences, personal and collective, the pain and joy, the wounds and the healing, the oppression and the liberation, is a way we can flourish together. We can't really flourish individually. This is the profound mystery that we live in, our deep connection. During the pandemic, Alice Walker was in Philly to speak about the publication of her journals. And during the question and answer period, someone asked her, "Given the state of affairs, what do we do?" I've always remembered her answer. She said we should gather in our living rooms and speak the truth to each other. My favorite quote of Jesus is from the Gospel of Thomas, where he said, "If you bring forth what is within you will save you. And if you don't bring forth what is within you will destroy you." There is a path of hope, healing, and repair, and it involves telling the truth. To be naked in the searchlight of truth, this is love. When we've experienced deep harm or caused deep harm, we often cope by not acknowledging it. This attempt to protect ourselves diminishes us. On the path to healing, we turn to face it. It's difficult and it's courageous, and we need support and ways to do it. James Baldwin said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced." He also said, "Love takes off the mask that we fear we cannot live without and know that we cannot live within." True healing creates a new future. It's only through eradicating the injustices that we can come together from all walks of life in harmony and understanding. And repeated harm invalidates reconciliation. The delusion of white supremacy is deep and pervasive. My ancestors were active participants in it. I look into the reality of the suffering caused by generations of my ancestors and the forms that it continues in today, and I wonder at the loud silence. I listen for what it leaves unsaid. The possibility of making repair for my inheritance of ancestral harms lies in what I do now. The present moment contains the past and the future. So the key to transformation is what we do in this very moment. I've been doing research under the direction of Dr. Iris Barnes of the Hosanna School Museum to find new sites of the Underground Railroad in Harford County. The project focuses on researching and documenting these new sites in order to share the narratives. Hosanna School Museum is a leader in the county's reconstruction and Underground Railroad history and hosts the Upper Bay Juneteenth Festival. The information on the Underground Railroad is worth repeating as we experience today's current realities. a vast network of routes, safe houses, and allies that helped enslaved African Americans escape to freedom, in which free black communities and white abolitionists worked together, risking imprisonment, violence, and even death. To maintain secrecy, participants used railroad terms as code. Conductors were guides, stations were safe houses, and passengers were the men, women, and children seeking freedom. Beyond individual escapes, the Underground Railroad symbolizes the larger struggle for freedom, dignity, and human rights, challenging the power structures that upheld slavery. My role in the project is to give the context of the white supremacy in which Harford County's Underground Railroad operated by sharing the details of my ancestors there. Along with being prominent church elders, they were enslavers. As we know in this country, those often went hand in hand. They were on stolen land with stolen people. In 1652, the Susquehannock Indians were displaced, damaged, and dispelled by colonists for land acquisition and domination. In facing this, we encounter the living scars that we have accumulated in our psyche, the impact of our collective past. Bell Hooks says, whenever we do the work of love, we end the work of domination. In May, we led an Underground Railroad bus tour to the sites we researched. The tour was called Join the Journey and is described this way. Step into the landscapes of resistance across Harford County, where freedom seekers made the life-altering choice to claim their liberty. Travel to escape sites described by William Still, whose records preserve these journeys. Stand where the first steps to freedom were taken. Freedom was not given, it was taken. Hear powerful personal stories that bring the history to life, including the voice of a descendant of one of the enslavers, revealing how this past still lives with us today. In August, we'll present the project at the Association of African American Museums' 48th Annual Conference, which is taking place here in Philly. The conference theme is This Land Holds Our Stories. Celebrating America 250 and 100 years of Negro History Week, we're still making America whole. Truth-telling, honesty, and inheritance. As I've been working with what it is to carry a legacy of harm, I've learned how personal history can be. What do we do with the information? Ida B. Wells said, the way to right wrongs is to shine the light of truth upon them. We don't stay silent. Following the lead of freedom seekers and abolitionists, we oppose harmful practices in the present. We ask, what happened? Who has been impacted and in what way? What's been the hardest thing? What could those who caused the harm do to repair the harm and rebuild trust? Reparative genealogy includes learning how to navigate self-delusion and self-deception in order to address collective delusion and mass deception. Individual healing and collective engagement go hand in hand. One of my ancestors is in William Still's book, The Underground Railroad. Still kept detailed notes on freedom seekers who came through his home here in Philadelphia, where they were protected from kidnappers and then equipped and sent north along the network to safety in Canada. Recorded in his notes is this: sundry arrivals from Maryland, 1860. John Smith held Dr. Abraham Street responsible for treating him as a slave. The doctor lived in Marshall District, Harford County, Maryland. Rosanna Johnson. The spot that Rosanna Johnson looked upon with most dread and where she had suffered as a slave under a man called Dr. Street was near the rocks of Deer Creek in Harford County, Maryland. Dr. Abraham Street was my fourth great uncle. I remember keenly when I first discovered that my ancestors had enslaved people. I found a 1947 newspaper article with a picture of a very old black woman named Margaret Frisbee. She was brought to the Whiteford farm when she was 16 in 1854. Margaret is quoted as saying, "I was born a long time ago down at Shook's Corner. Mr. Whiteford got me at the almshouse down near the Coal Gate. My mommy and daddy were slaves and I had lots of brothers and sisters. Her death is reported in 1948. Quote, known to hundreds of residents in Upper Hartford as Mag, the deceased lived on the farm, now belonging to Mr. Edward Whiteford, for over 90 years. Edward Whiteford was my great uncle. His grandfather was sheriff in 1857. An 1858 ad says, 5 Negro men for sale. By virtue of order of the Circuit Court of Hartford County, I will sell at public sale to the highest bidder for cash. On Tuesday, June 22nd, 1858, Michael Whiteford, Sheriff of Hartford County. The ad was placed by my great-great-great-grandfather, 9 years before the first Juneteenth. When I went to locate this property last year, and when I found it, a woman in the neighboring property told me that her house had been owned by Quakers and was part of the Underground Railroad. She then said that when the house that had belonged to my ancestors was renovated, they found a Confederate uniform in the walls. History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Maya Angelou. I have a mantra that I've been repeating for a number of years. I will apply all my powers to achieve the following aim: to unlearn all the harmful ways of being, of speaking, thinking, and acting that I have been taught in a Western-educated American white woman's body. And I'll learn the life-affirming ways of love, of the earth, and of true humanity, and live in harmony with them. I wrote this piece in 2022. It's called Original Location. I feel the stain today. It was there even when I didn't consciously feel it. Now it has risen from the depths where such truths are covered and lie rotting and stinking. It is here now in my hand. I hold it. It feels heavy, yet it is dried out and dead. The fact is, it was never buried correctly. We didn't gather silently or speak words to each other in ceremony or acknowledge that what was alive and well is now dead, and we are putting it to rest in the earth and in ourselves. We didn't lay it in the ground, place handfuls of dirt over it, and weep. We didn't do this. Instead, like a white mob leaving the victim of their terror for all to see, it was there to keep us silent. And we were. It was like the bodies of ancestors whose spirits remain, never to be put to rest. Our silence kept it buried alive as the stink followed us wherever we went. It didn't matter how far we removed ourselves from the original location. We couldn't get away from it. That original location, it ends up, is carried within us. Far and wide, it is carried, hidden in many lives, until we stop. We have to stop. We are stopped by the sheer force of unacknowledged truth. We get knocked to our knees like we should have been at the original location. Some of our kin were perpetrators, some were behind-the-scenes supporters, some were bewildered, and some hid in fear. Many just didn't speak or act for generations. Today, it sits in our bellies and makes us stop. We return to the original location. We have to have the eyes and the stomach to see what was there. We have to have the courage and wisdom to see what's there now, what's remained, what form it is in the present moment. Weep, perform a proper burial, gather together and lay that stinking decay in the ground and remember it. Make a marker stating who and what lies here so others can find their way to the location, stand on the spot, read the words, and take into their belly the impact. We've marked the spot so others won't have to go searching blind. We gather there, remember, acknowledge, and turn to face a new future, carrying some of the soil with us to fuel our courage and conviction. Reverence is the nature of our love at this time. With a proper burial, which did not occur for so many victims of terror, we challenge the code of silence. We feel the weight in our bellies, and we do the work to restore humanity to us all. This we do today. We flourish together by addressing the harm, to heal past and present, personal and collective. By connecting, radiating love, and doing what is right, being courageous, being accountable. We remind ourselves we're in a position to turn towards a life-affirming change, and it will take our great effort and imagination, backed by integrity and solidarity. We can move out of our accustomed places and towards one another, listen and speak from the heart. In whatever capacity we have, we can remain committed to telling the truth. We may not be in a position of power, but we can act with power from the position we're in. We can be wide open like the sky, pervasive like the earth, unshakable like a mountain, shining like a flame, clear like a crystal. As Toni Morrison said, this is precisely the time we go to work. All that you repair, you heal. All that you heal, heals you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tremaine. Thank you for reminding us there are lots of ways to go about the work of liberation. Some of them are big and loud, and some of them are quiet and important. We thank you for that. We are coming to the end of our service here in the sanctuary. I invite you downstairs for some delicious goodies. And Tremaine, if you're willing to hang around and talk to folks afterwards, that would be wonderful. Thank you all for being here, for celebrating with us, remembering with us, whether in person or online. You want to show everyone your drawing you made downstairs? Yeah, good job. So as we extinguish our chalice up here in the sanctuary, friends who are online, I want to make a couple of quick announcements. One is that, as you noticed, we are moving to the summer mode of programming where we don't have structured RE programming. We do have a family space over here with lots of things for kids to do, and it works pretty well, I think you'll agree. But we will have childcare over the summer, and we just didn't have a lot of childcare today because folks got sick. We're going to extinguish the chalice in just a second. Griffin's going to help us extinguish the chalice here in the sanctuary, and then we're going to sing one final hymn before we end our service this morning. Griffin, thank you. So, we're all going to take a nice, easy breath and then extinguish our chalice here in the sanctuary using the words from Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. Would you read them with me? We extinguish this fire. Fabulous. Now I'm going to invite you to rise in body or in spirit, especially for those of us who are white. We're about to enter into sacred ground. We're going to sing, Lift Every Voice and Sing, hymn number 149 in the gray hymnal. The words are on the screen behind me. I invite you to feel the spirit of love and liberation as we sing these words. Number 149, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Thank you, Sophie. Friends, may we go in peace, remembering that freedom is coming. Not all times with all deliberate speed, but with an inevitability because of the Spirit that lives within us and the love that is between us and the Spirit that goes beyond us. May it be so. Happy Juneteenth, happy solstice, happy summer, everyone. We'll see you next week. Amen.